Okay. All right, Lamar. Now we gotta. He's not the only quarterback in this situation. He's not the only quarterback that's going to be on the field this Sunday.
Mhm.
This quarterback has gotten to the Super Bowl twice in the last 3 seasons, but you don't hear people talk that highly about him. They don't put him in that conversation as in like the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, the elite status, or anything like that. Some people would say he might not even be the best quarterback in his division right now or in
Hmm.
his conference. So we got that. We got people saying, I'll take Jaden Daniels over him. I'll take Dak Prescott over him. It's Jalen Hurts has done nothing but win. If he wins this on Sunday, where does that put him in the quarterbacks in the league, Lamar? Where do you think that will solidify him as far as the top quarterbacks in the NFL if he wins this Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes on Sunday?
So where that would put him in the league right now, one thing I'll just say this is he has a great game because it's the difference of how you win though. Because if they win the game, but the defense steps up and Saquon just goes, but I don't use the word bananas, but we just gonna say bananas, right? If he goes just off, but Jalen kind of look, average, well, nothing much is gonna change because we've seen average QBs win with great defenses, right? We've seen that. But if he actually plays a part, which I believe he will, all right, then you got to put some respect on his name at that point, right? There's no question he'll be top 10 because I know some people don't have him top 10. There's no question. Top 5, that's an argument to have because you got Mahomes and Lamar, Josh Allen, right? Different people like that, Burrow. But if somebody has like a Herbert up there as 5, you could be like, hey, look, Jalen Hurts actually got him there. Maybe you might want to put him above that. I'm not about to go there, but top 10, I think you got to put some respect on his name easily at that point.
I agree. I think I made a case once he got to the Super Bowl that he should just be top 5 now. Because if you think about it, who's 5? We know who top 4 is. We know it's Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Who's 5? We don't have a solidified number 5. We don't. People will want to say Matt Stafford, but what has he done lately? He hasn't done much of anything for real. You could bring up Jared Goff, but he's not in this situation. He hasn't been in the Super Bowl since he was with the Rams. I love Brock Purdy, but he's not top 5. I'll be honest. Brock Purdy's not top 5. Who else can you put up there? You can't put Herbert. He doesn't have a playoff win.
Yeah.
Definitely not Trevor Lawrence because he got the same numbers as Daniel Jones. So no, not him.
Where's the sound effects at? Don't even bring his name up. No.
So we don't. There's no solidified top 5 quarterback right now, and I think it should automatically just go to Jalen Hurts. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years, and the first Super Bowl he was All Pro. He was All Pro quarterback during that time. He had a great game in the Super Bowl. Yes, he had that fumble, but he balled out in the Super Bowl. And that's when his defense did not step up when they needed to. The defense was not good, even though that was a top 5 defense in the league all season long. They led the league in sacks. I think they broke a record in the most sacks that they had in one season. So they had that going for him. And he was the one that pretty much showed up. He played the best out of anyone in that game. And yes, I did. Yes, I had locks. I no longer have locks anymore.
Welcome to the party. They just
welcome to the show. I had locks, but they're gone now. But yeah, I think for sure, I think it further solidifies that he's a top 5 quarterback if he wins this on Sunday. And for me, it doesn't even matter how he wins. Now, if he plays horrible, and they win, then okay, I can understand why someone might question it. But if he plays okay, he game manages and they win, and okay, Saquon goes off, defense steps up, I still think he's top 5 because there's no one else. There's no one else in that situation. There's no one else in the league that's been in this situation since who knows? Because he also did something that hasn't been done from the last 19 quarterbacks. And he was a part of that list. The last 19 quarterbacks that lost the Super Bowl have not returned.
That's
He's
true.
the only one that lost their first Super Bowl that has returned. So I believe that he's looking for revenge. He's looking for a championship. And you got to give a shout out to Howie Roseman, who's been able to put him in position. He put the best weapons around him, and he's taking advantage of it. They went and drafted Jalen Carter. They got Nolan Smith. They got N'Kobe Dean. They went and got CJ Gardner Johnson back. They still got Darius Slay. They drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They got everything they need. They still got Reed Blankenship. They got Zach Bond. They got all these players on this team to help them put them where they are now.
It's wild.
Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They got all these guys. You still got Jordan Mailata. You still got Lane Johnson on the offensive line. You got Dallas Goedert, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and then you go sign the most coveted free agent this year and Saquon Barkley.
It's an all-star team.
You put everything. You put all the chips on the table to go all in for the season. And then people were questioning, why don't you have let Saquon go for the record? That's something that hasn't been done in forever. Eric Diskin has had this record for a very long time. Give Saquon the opportunity to break it, and then to break it against his old team. But he
Yeah.
was like, it's no point. It's no reason to do that. They have a goal in hand, and it's to go win the Super Bowl. And Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts has played mistake free. I think he hasn't had a turnover in the last 8 playoff games that he's been in.
Hmm.
So, well, I don't know if it's the last 8 because the Super Bowl counts in that. So I wouldn't say the last 8, but the last few Super Bowls he hasn't turned the ball over. He's played really well. He's played well enough for them to win. And we hear this about him all the time. Say, he's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
This right here will solidify that. If he wins the Super Bowl when he's not supposed to, because he's going up against Patrick Mahomes. Most people are picking the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes and the refs. Let's be honest. The rest too. The rest is another reason why most people are picking the Chiefs. Because if we look the top to bottom, the Eagles have the best team overall. They got the best. They have the number 1 defense in the league.
True.
They have the best offensive line in the league. They have the
Mhm.
number 1 rushing attack in the league.
Yeah.
That might go to the Ravens, but they still top 5 rushing offense in the league. The only thing that's been bottom is the passing game, and that's because they haven't had to, because they got Saquon and the best offensive line in the league.
Yeah. It's true.
So I think if Jalen Hurts is to win this, I think it further solidifies that he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. Because, like I said, there's no one else that has solidified that. Like, we had guys back in the day to where we could point to and say, yeah, those guys are top 5. Peyton, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger was in that conversation as well. Eli was not. People who think he should have been first by the Hall of Fame, that's because he got 2 Super Bowl titles against Tom Brady. Other than that, he was an average quarterback. Let's just be honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of similar. I mean, not to cut you off, but you had some people that started off slow in the regular season. Like, what was his Joe Cool, the first, well, not the second Joe Cool. Joe Namath was the first Joe Cool, but slipping my mind. Ravens, Joe
Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, he would turn up in the playoffs. You have Phillip Rivers kind of opposite. He had great, regular season.
And then just couldn't do nothing in the postseason.
Yeah, postseason, just like Herbert. So, yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, it's respectable to put him, if you want to put him top 5, because he does win. One thing I'm gonna say, do this on the come up. You already know what I'm about to say. That boy JD5 is on the move. Hey, look, if it's no sophomore slump, and then once again, if it's 3 years in a row, I don't want to hear no conversation at that point.
Hey, we know how it is. You got to do it 3 times in order for it to be real.
Oh yeah,
we know exactly how it goes. That's why 3 is my favorite number. So, I don't think there should be any. Yeah. I'm sorry. If he's average, then yes. I mean, who else can we possibly put above him? Even if he's averaging in the game. Let's say he throws for 150 yards, 1 touchdown, and also has a rushing touchdown. And that's not that much. But let's say Saquon goes off for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he balls out. I mean, he plays if he throws if he throws, he if he's mistake free in this game, he has no fumbles, then I think it's without question that he's top five. We did throw Matt Stafford from what I remember. Matt Stafford has been in a conversation to be in top five, but we all knew Matt Stafford was a really good quarterback. He was in Detroit. That's the thing. He was just in Detroit. If he was somewhere else for a while, I think Matt Stafford would have been top five because he had the numbers. He had Megatron. It's just that he was in a bad organization with Detroit. They just did not know what winning was. They still kind of sort of don't know what winning is, but they have at least gotten to the NFC Championship game within the last 2 years. So, but people have been putting Matt Stafford in there the last few times. But who else? Who would be in that top five if it's not Jalen Hurts right now? If he wins this game, I think you got to give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just wrapping up. I think Stafford probably is right five right now, but I think once again, I think it's how you win. I think as long as he plays good, I need him to play at
That's
least
what I'm
good.
saying. If he plays terrible, then you can't put him up there. But
Yeah,
if he has an okay game, he plays mistake free. I mean, who that's my question. Who are we going to put in top five if it's not him? Are we going to keep Matt Stafford there, even though Matt Stafford hasn't been in this position since 2021?
That part that's the argument to have because I mean, how he played against the Eagles. I mean, during the playoffs, who was the first one? They cooked my Vikings. So I mean, it wasn't like Matt Stafford. I don't think played. I had to look at his stats. As far as I remember, I don't think he played terrible. So
No, he
I don't
didn't.
know. Yeah,
He didn't play terrible. But I mean, is it my thing is it a foregone conclusion that Matt Stafford is top five and Hurts can't do anything to overtop that?
I don't know. Of course not. I mean, because once again, if he has, I mean, and Joe just put it in the chat. I mean, if he does that, if he actually wins the Super Bowl MVP, oh, without a question.
Yeah, that's without question. Without question. He wins Super Bowl MVP is without question. But if he plays a good game, if he plays exactly like he did in the first Super Bowl, then there should be absolutely no argument. None
He played
whatsoever.
great.
So that's that. All right, Lamar. Now